So I've gotten a bunch done today, but I have more to do. Uh, but one of the things that I went and did today was signed a bunch of paperwork. And I don't know why, but I got the impulse to try to change my signature. I, didn't have some sort of pre-thought about it. It just, as I was signing all this paperwork, I was like, I just wanted to change it up. So I did change it up, and because I'm not changing my name too significantly, it was actually very easy. It was very fluid. I didn't have any problems with it. And so I just signed everything with my new name. And I mean, it's in cursive, it's my signature. So, no one's going to notice except me. But I don't know. I liked doing it. It made me happy. It makes me happy that it's fluid, that it's very simple, that I didn't have to think about it or try hard or anything. Again, I don't know what compelled me to do that. I just sort of did it. For whatever reason. I have been getting lots of compliments about my haircut. So that's nice. Real nice. I apparently look very masculine and handsome and blah blah blah. So, yeah, I guess I'll have to cut my hair like this again in the future. Worked out nice. I've been thinking a lot about the doctors and stuff, and I'm still nervous about it. But I mean, I probably need a refill on my inhaler anyway. And if I can get into this place and have primary care through there, little things like that'll get taken care of. But also, I don't know, I've been thinking about, they probably have suggestions for things like a binder for someone with asthma, or, how to help with some of the things that I've thought about but dismissed because of health stuff. And hopefully it'll be fine. Hopefully it'll be okay. I've been trying to focus on what's good that's theirs to be gained from seeing the doctors. I'm trying so hard to focus on that because it is starting to occur to me that I'm going to be seeing some doctors. I just, gotta get through the medical aspect of things so I can get transitioned and get to the other side of transitioning and get through the next few years. It's just, I keep telling myself it's temporary, it's for a few years, and then after that, it's just a checkup once in a while, make sure your testosterone levels are good. It's no big deal. It's I don't like doctors. I really, really don't. Even besides traumatic reasons to not like doctors, I've got other reasons to not like them. I started truly being terrified of them when I was super sick around 10, 11, 12-ish. All of that age, somewhere in there. I got really sick and they kept not knowing what it was, and they were like, oh, it's asthma, oh no, it's bronchitis, oh no, it's, pneumonia, oh no, it's this, it's that. Did all kinds of stuff trying to figure out why I was sick all the time and stuff, poked me and prodded me, and it was never me they talked to, it was always my mother, and it was always uncomfortable as crap. It was miserable, and I mean, there's been other things, like I got an ear infection when I was like 16, and they took this water pressurized thing and shot pressurized water up into my ear until I was screaming in pain. And then they're like, okay, take a breath. Okay, now we're going to do it again. And I don't mean screaming like I went, ah, and they stopped. I mean, I was screaming bloody murder for at least 3 minutes while they just kept doing it. And then they did it again for another at least 5-6 minutes. And it's like me just screaming my lungs out. And finally, after they do that, they were like, well, nothing came out. So here, we're going to give you this droplet stuff. And if you put it in your ear and wait 15 minutes, you can flip your head over to the other side and whatever's in there will just drain out. And I was like, why didn't you give me this in the first place? Why did you make me scream bloody murder? And they were like, oh, for insurance purposes. And I was like, what the... You literally tortured me so that you could charge insurance extra money. Like, unreasonable. Doctors are usually either completely dismissive when you have a real problem, or else they create a problem so that they can charge insurance extra money for it. In my experience, all of my experiences with doctors, even the nicest ones, even the ones who aren't terrible human beings who get some sort of sick sadistic pleasure out of torturing people, even those ones seem to do that, seem to just want to get the extra money. It's very frustrating. And they hound you about it. You said, like, no, I don't want to do that. They're like, oh, well, we have to inform you that. And I'm like, okay, fine, you inform me, I'm done. I don't want to do that. And they're like, well, and they won't stop. They spend 10 minutes of your 15-minute appointment hounding you and pressuring you and guilting you and trying to convince you. And it's like, yeah, but no. The answer was no. The answer is still no. And it's so hard to be that direct with them when I'm falling apart because I'm terrified, but I still have to try to do that because I have to try to self-advocate. Otherwise, they just walk all over you. Like, I've always been of the mindset that certain professions require people that get hired for it to be somewhat of a bully. And in my experience, certain professions just are that way. And doctors and police officers and, lawyers and certain professions, you need to have a little bit of a bully in you to even be able to accept wanting to do the job. I've met people before who wanted to be a police officer when they were a kid because they thought they would help people, and they started police school and realized real quick that's not what policing is about, and they quit real fast because they did not want to be a police officer to be cruel to people or to enforce really horrible laws that are inhumane. They wanted to be a hero, and that's not the place to go to be a hero. Even before all of the protests started now, this was years and years and years ago. You don't get trained as a police officer to be a hero. You get trained to be a bully. I feel like, for the most part, with doctors, it's the same way. There's a certain mentality of bullying your patients instead of hearing your patients. And that's even besides, again, I have genuinely traumatic situations that I've been in with doctors. But I don't really like to talk about any of that. But just the frustrating things. And I am so scared of doctors. Even when I was a teenager, there was a point when I had a rash on my leg that was like red, swollen, lifted up and stuff, and it had like white streaks in it. Like these massive white streaks going through this red rash. And my mom, not my mother, my mom, was like, you need to go to the doctors. And I was like, no. I don't want to go to the doctors. I just need you to put something on it and it'll be fine. And she's like, well, obviously it's not bad if you don't want to go to the doctors. And I'm like, it's obviously bad. I can't go to the doctors. And she's just like, And I was like, no, and she's just like trying to get me to go to the doctors by goading me because she was trying so hard, because asking me to go to the doctors doesn't work. And I never went. So I have no idea what that rash was. It went away though, so whatever. It was just this strange rash on, like, just above my knee. And it was only there. It didn't spread or anything. And it just went away on its own. It was very strange. One time I was making macaroni and cheese, and I poured the boiling water over my hand, my left hand here, and it immediately just scalded everywhere. Skin was peeling back, blisters all over it, just completely bright, swollen, wet red, and I was obviously very much in pain. Didn't go to the doctors. Probably had at least 2nd-degree burns. I don't know if that's 2nd or 3rd degree or whatever, but I had pretty terrible burns. And I stuck my arm in the freezer, and I stood there with my arm in the freezer for 4 hours. Literally 4 hours. And then my arm was so numb that I finally took a bunch of lotion and I put it inside a glove, and I put that glove over my hand. I took some NyQuil so that I would pass out, and I went to sleep before my arm thawed out. And then the next day I did that again, and then the next day it didn't need to be for 4 hours, and I just kept doing that until my skin healed up. Sleeping with a glove with lotion on it on. And the thing is it worked. My hand, you can't see any scarring or anything, but I have a whole bunch of patches on top of my hand where I have no feeling at all. Someone else accidentally poured like scalding hot tea from like a Chinese place. They had just brought out the hot tea, and hot tea can get pretty hot. That's why it's called hot tea. But they accidentally poured some on this hand, and it was more of like, that's annoying. It didn't burn. And they were all worried that they had like scalded me. And I'm like, nah. I mean, my hand was red, but I couldn't feel it. I was like, it's fine, it's okay. Because I did not handle it well when I burned my hand, because handling it well would have required seeing a doctor. So me going to the doctors because I'm trans is a very, very, very significant thing, because it would take me being trans to go to the doctors. I had a doctor who was an idiot, apparently, and they told me, my blood levels for, stuff was actually looking pretty good. I apparently was not anemic anymore, and I could stop taking my iron and go lead a normal life. I was like, oh, okay, cool. 3 years later, I can barely function. My limbs are all like just completely numb, and I just learn how to function with numb limbs. I'm like passing out constantly, like actually just passing out. I can't hardly function at all, and I think I'm dying. And I'm trying to like take care of my special needs spouse, and she is super Alzheimer's-y during this time, and I'm doing it all on my own. And go to the doctors, and I'm like, do I have like cancer? Do I have some sort of horrible thing? What's wrong with me? Turns out I just am horrifically anemic and need to start taking iron again. And I was like, it was a doctor who told me to stop taking iron. And they were like, your anemia is not curable. Your anemia, you will have your whole life. It doesn't go away. Whoever told you to stop taking iron was an idiot. So apparently, it's so frustrating because you get totally different things from different doctors depending on which one they are. Because you don't know which ones are actually learned and which ones are, hey, I got through med school, now I get to be a doctor. You don't know which ones actually give a shit about whether or not they paid attention, whether or not they got educated, and it's frustrating. It's so frustrating. I almost had to go to a freaking hematologist because my anemia was so bad. They couldn't even draw blood to do the testing for my anemia. They even tried to do it through like my hand and stuff. They just could not get blood out of me because there was so little blood in me. Because I have red blood cells that are 3 times smaller than the average person's or whatever, and I have really bad anemia. And I'm supposed to take iron. I haven't taken iron in the last several days, so I should probably do that. But if I don't take my iron, my body just starts shutting down. It does not like it at all. It's stuff that I, have learned about myself and learned to deal with about myself. So I don't go to the doctors and get regular checkups about my anemia. I don't get regular checkups about my asthma. I just only go if my albuterol expires. I try to use it sparingly so that it lasts for the full 2 years before it expires. I don't go to the doctors for almost anything. If I get sick, oh well, I'll be really, really, really sick for a couple of days and then I get over it completely. Even no matter what it is, I just get super sick for like 1 or 2 days and then I'm done. My body just completely recovers. So I have a pretty decent immune system. So I just don't go to the doctors. But this isn't one of those things where I can get around having to go to the doctors or not have to go super often. Oh, I'll go once and they'll say, yeah, sure. Okay, here you go. Here's some testosterone and then I'm done. That's not how it works. Not if I want to actually get the surgeries and feel whole. Not if I actually want to feel whole. Not if I actually want to have the genuine relief and comfort of being able to match everything that's internal with what's external. My external needs to change for that to happen, and I have to talk to doctors for that to happen. And I don't go to the doctors. I freak out at the doctors. Again, I've had such bad, fear reactions at doctors before that doctors have refused to work with me, or even one time a doctor flat out called the cops because I was so scared of the doctor that they thought I needed to be dragged away. Never committed any crimes, never had any reason for police to hound me, not that they haven't ever before. They have anyway, because that's what they do, but I mean, I'm not a criminal person. But I get so scared. Just terrified. I tremble, I cower, my eyes must be as big as my face. And it's so degrading to get that scared. I can't even express the sheer volume of embarrassment. Just utterly horrified at my own reaction, and yet I can't control it. It's compulsive. I have a very strong history of not finishing testing. And I have to finish testing to transition. And it's just gut-wrenching. I don't have a choice. My choice is try to keep existing as I have and not want to kill myself, or do this. Face my biggest fear And that's very hard sometimes. Because I'm not scared of dying, but I'm terrified of doctors. But maybe this place will be different because it is specifically geared toward helping the LGBT plus community, and it is geared toward assisting trans folk with transitioning, and maybe my transgender needs will be enough of a focus that it'll be different than it's been in the past. I keep trying to convince myself. It might not even feel like I'm hardly at the doctor's. Might feel like I'm just chit-chatting with a bunch of nurses or something. I'm not scared of nurses. That's okay. I can talk to a nurse. Usually I can't be alone in a room with a doctor, and I have to ask a nurse to stay because I can't be alone with the doctor. So then the nurse is kind of like, not sure why I'm standing here, but okay. And I have to be like, you're holding my hand. You might not actually be holding my hand, but that's what you're doing. You're staying here, reassuring me I'm not alone with this person who is like my nightmares. I can meet a person like in an everyday situation and be like, oh, hey, cool, you're a nice person or whatever. And then as soon as I hear that they're a doctor, I just immediately, like physically, I will step back away from them a step and just stop talking to them. And I try to be as polite about it as I can, but I can't know someone is a doctor. Even though it's an everyday situation, we're not at the doctor's office, they're not my doctor, it still makes me cringe. It's really pathetic, and I hate it so fucking much. I hate it. It's such a freaking recurring problem. But I don't know how to make it stop. The only thing I can hope at all is that one of the positive side effects of transitioning will be that the more male I feel, the more secure with myself I feel. That will hopefully translate into being less terrified around doctors. And that's not why I'm transitioning, but it would be a nice side effect of transitioning, for sure, is to feel more strong and capable and all that. It's just, anyway. I have my consultation thingamabob coming up, and then if that goes well, I'm in, and then I'll have my doctor's appointment scheduled and can start getting labs done and stuff in the hopes of maybe a couple months from now I'll be on testosterone. I figure it'll probably take a little bit to schedule appointments for these things. So I'm trying to not be overzealous and be like, yeah, 2 weeks after the doctor's appointment I'll be coming back for testosterone. No, it's probably going to be more like 2 months, I'm assuming, just in waiting times. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this place is not like that, but most doctors' places I've been to are like that. So I don't know, but I don't know. On the one hand, I'm so happy, and on the other hand, I'm so scared. And it's so pathetic, so annoying. But also, I'm looking forward to, that positiveness. Also, I finished off my gross protein powder yesterday, and our girlfriend got me some fancy stuff. So today, after I exercise, maybe I'll try that and see how it is. Because it's supposed to be like the really good tasting protein powder. I mean, I still used up all the other protein powder. I'm not a wasteful person. Um, I'll eat stuff even if I don't necessarily like it because of the way that I know what it's like to starve. I know what it's like to be hungry. Um, and I I I can't. I'm kind of, people know about me. I can't waste food. I can't leave food not finished or whatever. Um, I'll eat other people's food if they're leaving it to waste. Like I can't. It's compulsionary or whatever. Um, I have to finish my food, and it doesn't matter what it tastes like. If it's got some nutritional value, I'll eat it anyway. Um, unless I'm allergic to it. So, but I am obviously someone who would prefer that it tasted good instead of bad. So we had this crappy protein powder. It was like cheapo kind or whatever. And I've used up this, and I got a big giant tub of it too because I thought, oh, protein powder, I should do that and make protein shakes and stuff. And it tastes like crap. And I didn't think about that. So hopefully this new stuff is awesome. And also still very full of protein and all that. Obviously, I care about that. I also drink muscle milk decently often after exercising stuff and everything too. Um, like it's obviously not the best thing in the world, but it's better than a lot of stuff that I've tried. It's better than trying to gag down a protein bar. I have only found like 2 protein bars that I can tolerate the taste of, and they only have like 20 grams of protein in them, and I prefer more like 30, but they just taste disgusting sometimes, and you just gotta choke it down so you can get your protein in for the day, because my diet has a lot of like vegetables and stuff in it, and it's hard for me to try to shove a whole bunch of extra protein stuff in there, especially because the girls don't like a lot of things that are high in protein. And I've been trying to eat more beans and stuff, but they don't like beans. I mean, they flat out despise lentils. Apparently, I don't mind lentils at all, but they do, and it's like I do stick, high protein granolas in my yogurt, or like chia seeds or things like that, but and they don't mind that. But it's like when it comes to like actually cooking a meal, they want more normal food, and I'm like, yeah, that doesn't have a lot of protein in it, so I have to make it up because I can tell a difference in my strength levels when I'm exercising and eating a lot of protein versus when I'm exercising and only eating a little. And by a little, I mean like, 50, 60 grams. A lot is more like trying to get to 100 grams of protein or more. And I weigh a lot more than that, but a lot of my weight is body fat because I did not lose a bunch of weight and then try to exercise to get muscle. I just went straight for the muscle. So I do have a decently high body fat percentage, but I don't really care. I'm not the kind of person who thinks like, oh, fat automatically equates to unhealthy. Um, it's genetic for me. We've always been somewhat big boned, stocky people. And my family is just sort of a normal thing, but we're also very muscular people. I don't know if it's because I'm majority Irish and that's from that, or if it's something else. I don't know. Um, but I'm like, for whatever reason, even when I was like, a teenager and stuff like that, I've always been very much, way more muscular than other girls and more stocky than other girls when I was younger. So now, as a guy, that thankfully translates okay because, being more muscular and more stocky and stuff is good as a guy. So, um, uh, it just also means I have a little bit extra body fat. But I don't give a shit about that. I genuinely care about health, not weight. And what's healthy for me is muscle. It's healthy for my mental health, and it's healthy for my body, and it's what I build up. But it does make things a little weirder with like stuff like that. I am glad that my gut is changing a little bit though, because I mean, yes, I would like to be a man, but physically, to go with mentally, but I also would like to be a man shaped the way that I am in my brain, and in my brain I don't have like a giant beer gut. Like I'm not scrawny or super skinny or, have like 8 abs running up my stomach or something like that. Um, but I don't have a giant belly, so my belly going down some is nice, but I know it's going down because my body fat overall is going down, which is nice. Because I feel like I have always had thick legs and a thick butt and, a lot of weight around like my thighs and stuff like that. So I want to have less of that. That's why I don't do a ton of squats and stuff. A lot of guys are like, oh, I'm so top heavy, I got to work on my legs some and stuff. And I'm kind of like, I need to be more top and less bottom than I am. I don't need to work on my legs right now. Eventually that'll have to change, but right now I definitely am trying to work on my upper body because it's so much of an issue for me. And I can't do everything that I need to be doing. For instance, I really, really keep hearing over and over again from all these exercise things, a pull-up bar really, really makes a big difference. But I can't just go damaging my apartment to put a bar up in a doorway. We can't afford stuff like that. Security deposits matter. So it's kind of frustrating because I mean, if the number one thing that like bulks up your shoulders and stuff really well is pull-ups, and I can't do pull-ups, it's like, is what it is with that. But I gotta at least, I can at least do, push-ups and do, backwards sit-ups, whatever those are called. I forgot. For some reason, I can't remember the names of them. And I'm getting to where I'm doing harder variants of some things, which is nice, to feel that progression. But at the same time, I feel like I'm going very, very slow. And I know part of that's because of struggles with consistency, because my life is not consistent. And I know part of that is because I struggle to get enough protein in a day. That's not consistent. And that I know makes a big difference. Your protein intake matters when you're trying to build muscle. But at the same time, I mean, at least I am making progress. And even if it's slow progress, at least it's there. And that's something. So, I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm glad that I started trying to change some things to be more masculine before I saw the doctor. I'm glad that I already have a habit of trying to exercise every day. and, every other day work on my muscle and stuff like that, kind of a thing. And I'm glad that I already have been making some progress with that, because it genuinely makes me feel more confident about testosterone. It makes me feel more confident about fat redistribution, and that I'm not going to be dysphoric about my body shape forever. That I am going to be shaped like a man, and I'll be a short little man, that I'll be a man finally in my body. And who knows, maybe my eyebrows will get a little thicker. That would be nice. Maybe I'll grow a little more facial hair that's less patchy. That would be nice. Maybe I'll get a mustache or something, to fill out this. That would be nice. I really, really, really hope I get an Adam's apple. Like, so much. So freaking much. And I can go get my wardrobe. I can pick out the clothes that I actually want, and I can box up these other clothes that I don't want, and feel positive, feel good things, feel strong. Because my body finally is getting there. And to have that, it's worth it to face my fear of doctors. To have that, it's worth it to put myself through some stress. To have that, I mean, it's not even just, the injection of confidence that testosterone usually has, or, bottom growth, as much as I'm very much looking forward to some bottom growth. Just my overall physical shape being more accurate would be tremendous. Having the Adam's apple, having the shoulders that I really, really want. There's so much that I want that could actually realistically happen, that I try to stay focused on, because it's gonna be worth it. Like, I know myself, it's gonna be worth it. It's just getting through it. I try to focus on the positive aspects. Try to get myself a little bit hyped or whatever. Ooh, build it up. Anyway. I don't know. Keeping my mind on what's important. It matters. It's not just a physical thing, transitioning. It's helpful to keep remembering your mindset. Remembering why you're doing this. Remembering what's going to be good about doing this. So I have a weird barrier with the doctor thing. I can't imagine a single person who's ever transitioned who didn't have some sort of barrier. I'm not gonna let My fear of doctors keep me from having the life I want to have and being the person I want to be. I can't. I can't go to my deathbed and look back on my life and be like, well, I was a coward and I couldn't. I can't do that. I need this more than I need to avoid doctors. This isn't the same as standing for 4 hours with my arm in a freezer for me. That was less of a big deal than this is. Like, this is the rest of my life. I have wasted so freaking much of my life. I want to start actually living it. Like, really living it. I want me to be in my life.